We give enormous attention to celebrity culture, while some of the people doing the most consequential work in the world receive only a fraction of that attention. José Andrés is not only an extraordinary chef and humanitarian, he's one of the clearest examples of what leadership looks like when people are hurting. So let me challenge you before we even begin. What if you started this week with a stronger commitment to creating a better environment for everyone that works with you? What if you became more present when problems appeared? What if you looked for the person who felt unseen, overwhelmed, or uncertain and helped make their path a little clearer? You may not be feeding thousands of people in a disaster zone, but you still have opportunities every day to reduce fear, protect dignity, solve problems, and leave people stronger than you found them. Welcome to another episode of the Leading Life Podcast, where we talk practical wisdom for leadership and life. I'm your host, Andy Zook, and I've learned that leadership is about how we show up for people, how we navigate change, and how we continue growing. Right now, on today's episode, what José Andrés teaches us about leadership. This is the Leading Life Podcast, where we talk about leadership growth and navigating modern life with wisdom. I'm your host, Andy Zook, and I want to talk about a leader today who quietly represented one of the greatest examples of leadership in our time, and that is a chef named José Andrés. This episode is not about food or cooking, it's about action, and it's what real leadership looks like when people are going through challenges. Because while many leaders are busy protecting titles, positioning themselves politically, or taking endless meetings, José Andrés is usually somewhere in the world feeding people during absolute chaos. And every time I see him interviewed, I walk away thinking, this person understands leadership better than most executives ever will. José Andrés was born in Spain in 1969. He trained in the culinary arts in Barcelona, and then he went on to open influential restaurants in DC, Las Vegas, and other major cities, earning Michelin recognition and multiple James Beard honors. In 2010, though, he founded World Central Kitchen, and that provides fresh meals to people affected by natural disasters, wars, and humanitarian crises around the world. His work as both a celebrated chef and a global emergency relief leader has earned him extraordinary recognition, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom. A lot of people admire him because really he combines that high-level excellence, relentless action, lots of optimism, and a deep compassion. I love that. One of his core beliefs is that food is more important than just nourishment. It's dignity, it's hope, it's community. And he's honestly a fascinating leadership example because he moves fast, he empowers teams, and focuses less on bureaucracy and more on helping people immediately. The first lesson I want to share that I learned from him is real leaders move toward the problem. World Central Kitchen built a model designed to move quickly, work locally, and adapt in real time. So when disaster strikes, he moves toward it. Most people move away from chaos. Most leaders do. It's human nature, but certain people are wired differently, and I want us to think differently. So José Andrés doesn't wait for permission. He moves, and that alone separates him from most leadership cultures. And what I mean is, a lot of organizations have become addicted to analysis, committees, positioning, optics, and endless discussion. Meanwhile, real challenges are happening right in front of them. And there's a deeper lesson to this. Leadership is not about appearing intelligent during stable conditions. Leadership is about reducing the challenges during unstable conditions. That's the test. Not your PowerPoint, not your LinkedIn post, not your corporate jargon. Can you help people when things become really difficult? That's when your leadership shines. And I think about workplaces. Some leaders disappear when pressure arrives. You notice that? When morale drops, when layoffs happen, when computers break down, when teams are exhausted, that confusion starts to spread, and some leaders start to hide behind their email. Others suddenly become unavailable. But the leaders that people remember, they move toward that problem. They walk the floor. They make the calls. They listen. They help fix what's broken down. They stabilize people emotionally and become presence, and presence matters. Sometimes people don't even want a perfect answer. They just need to know, hey, you're in here with us. That changes everything. So the lesson from José Andrés is simple. Run toward the problem, hear the hard truths, take action, and help solve it. All right, lesson 2, action beats image. One thing I deeply respect about José Andrés is he's not obsessed with looking important. He's obsessed with being useful, and that's rare in today's world. Many people now are just focused on building brands instead of building impact. Everything becomes presentation, performance, and optics. Andrés has also used his platform to push food security into larger conversations about public policy, national security, and human rights. He's grounded in reality. He asks simple questions. Who needs help? What do they need? And how fast can we get it there? That's operational leadership. And honestly, many modern leaders could learn from that simplicity, because somewhere along the way, leadership has become so much theater. People become focused on sounding strategic and protecting their perception and appearing like they're some great visionary, but they're not really solving problems. The people that are doing the real heavy lifting are not the loudest people in the room. I can tell you that over and over. Sometimes the true backbone of the organization is that person fixing problems at 6 a.m. while others are merely talking about strategy. José Andrés understands that invisible work because humanitarian work depends on it. The cameras may find the famous chef on TV, but the mission survives because ordinary people showed up. And for you listening right now, if you feel unseen at your job, in certain parts of your life, I want you to hear me carefully. Your integrity still matters, even when the applause doesn't come. Some of the greatest contributions in human history were made quietly. The lesson here? Simple. Reward the workers making a difference, not those posing for the camera. Lesson 3, perfection is the enemy of momentum. Another powerful lesson from him is that he didn't wait for perfect conditions. We all tend to do that. Oh, I'll start this project tomorrow. We all say that. Oh, I'll do this next week. I don't have everything right now to start what I want to do. He didn't wait. He adapted. That's huge. In disaster zones, perfection is impossible because you're working with limited supplies, unstable conditions, exhaustion, uncertainty. So the question becomes, what can we do right now? That mindset is powerful beyond humanitarian work. Many people are trapped in waiting for the perfect timing and confidence and clarity and all the right plans. And while they wait, life keeps on moving. Sometimes leadership means building the bridge while you're crossing it. Sometimes momentum matters more than polish. And I think this is especially important for leaders. You don't need to be perfect. You just need movement. You need repetition, consistency, and courage. José Andrés built World Central Kitchen through movement, not perfection. And honestly, that's how meaningful things get built. As I always say, if you don't know where to start, that's okay. Everyone started somewhere. So just start somewhere. The lesson here is simple. Act quickly, learn quickly, adjust quickly. The fourth lesson from José Andrés I want you to think about is human dignity is everything. Andrés scales his operations by empowering local communities rather than imposing outside solutions. He built local networks of chefs, suppliers, and volunteers, and relied on local recipes and local labor to restore dignity to those people. His model demonstrated a form of step-back leadership, provide resources, establish the mission, and trust capable people to lead. A warm meal told people, hey, you matter. You haven't been forgotten. And you're still human. Sometimes leaders forget this. People don't just remember compensation. They remember emotional experiences. They remember whether you highlighted them on a conference call or you protected them in a situation, whether you listened, whether you saw them, whether you gave them hope during the hardest of moments. And I've said this before. Some leaders can walk into a room and make people feel 2 feet tall, while others make people feel capable. Be that leader. Make them feel safe, valuable, because that difference changes lives. We can ask ourselves, how do people feel after interacting with me? Are people getting something impactful from me that will help them in their future? Not, oh, did I sound good? Did I sound smart? Did I look powerful? Did I win at that last meeting? Ask yourself, did people leave stronger because of me? Some leaders worry that compassion will make them look weak or invite people to take advantage of them. Sure, it can happen, but compassionate leadership does not mean abandoning standards. It means combining humanity with boundaries. It means making sure you're clear, making sure you give clarity and accountability. I know that the majority of people working for you are going to soar in their career and in their life because that you cared. They're going to excel because you were the one that made that difference. That's real leadership. We get so one-dimensional into, I have to do this operationally and I have to get them to get this certain quota and I have to make sure we blah, blah, blah. But they don't really take interest in caring for their people's lives. The lesson here is simple. Empower your people by first believing in their strengths and character. Remember the wake you leave as a leader. Lesson 5. Hope is not a feeling, it's an action. One of the most fascinating things I think that José Andrés does is that he operationalizes hope. Think about that. What I mean is most people talk about hope emotionally. He creates hope physically. I mean, when he goes to these disaster areas and makes sure people have a meal and he gives them a generator, he starts a kitchen, he's got people volunteering and showing up. That hope becomes real. And I think many people today are emotionally exhausted because they keep waiting to feel motivated before taking action. Action creates hope because teams don't need fake positivity, right? They don't need slogans. They don't need what you read in some leadership book. They need evidence that progress is possible. They want to see how you got ahead and how they can do the same thing. And sometimes the greatest thing a leader can do is create forward movement during uncertainty, even small movement, especially small movement. You know, I've told you the story before where managers in my last company lost a guaranteed commission check. It was something that they got every month. And that change was presented almost entirely as a loss. Leaders failed to eliminate a new path, how people could adapt, work differently, and potentially earn even more. But without a visible path forward, uncertainty quickly becomes hopelessness. The lesson here is simple. Hope is illuminating the path forward. And here is your leadership edge for this episode. As the years have gone by, the more I realize that leadership is probably more simpler than we make it. We complicate it with a lot of titles and organizational charts, but maybe leadership really is this: seeing difficulties and deciding not to walk past them. Maybe leadership is calming fear, protecting dignity, helping carry emotional weight, creating clarity during chaotic moments. And honestly, I think the world needs that exact kind of leadership right now. Not louder leaders, better humans, people who move toward the fire, people who help without needing credit, people who remain human under pressure. Yeah, think about that one, remaining human under pressure. José Andrés reminds me that greatness isn't found in boardrooms. Sometimes it's found in kitchens, in disaster zones. It's ordinary acts of service repeated over and over again. And maybe that's the challenge for all of us today. Where in your life can you reduce challenges and difficulties for the people around you? Who needs encouragement from you? Who needs protection? Who needs clarity? Who needs your compassion? Because leadership isn't only about building companies, it's about building up people. And maybe the strongest people in the world are the ones who still choose humanity when life gets hard. As José Andrés says, you don't need the best ingredients in life to create a special dish or a lasting memory. You play with and enjoy what you have right in front of you. You just need a sense of magic, wonder, and fun. You need to take care of what you do with simple methods learned through years of repetition. Above all, you need a sense of love for the people around you, love from the ones giving, and love for the ones receiving. Sometimes happiness can be found in a plate of old bread. So to quickly recap today, lesson 1 is real leaders move toward the problem. They take action, they hear the hard truths, and they help solve. Leadership lesson 2 is action beats image. Reward the workers making a difference, not those posing for the camera. Lesson 3 is perfection is the enemy of momentum. So act quickly, learn quickly, and adjust quickly. Lesson 4 is human dignity is everything, and that is empower your people by believing in their strengths and character. And then lesson 5, hope is not a feeling, it's action. And hope for all of us should just simply be illuminating the path forward. All right, that is today's episode. And if this podcast made a positive impact on you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And I would truly appreciate a quick rating or review on whatever platform you hear me on. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up next on the Leading Life Podcast. I'm Andy Zook. And remember, I want you to lead with purpose, live with intention, and keep on becoming who you were meant to be. But most importantly, go out today and be the hero in somebody's story. All right, I can't wait to talk to you on the next episode. Take care. Have an amazing day and week. Bye.